Hi, and welcome to the channel. I've spent a lot of time over the last, several months talking about credibility and having your website match your expertise and making sure that your brand and your identity and your business have an outgrow your website. And as I've been telling my clients and my audience, your website is generally the last one to find out when your business has gone to the next level. And that happened to me too. You see, I'm not just the founder of Purpose and Pixel, I'm also a client. And shout out to those of you who are old enough to get that reference. But yeah, I recently went through the exact thing that I go through with my clients. I completely updated my website to match the brand and identity and the services that I have been building my business towards over the last few years and finally matching my expertise. And I'm going to share with you a little bit of a walkthrough behind the scenes of that and unveil my new website to you. But before I do that, if you're new here, I'm Meg. I'm the founder of Purpose and Pixel, and I help established women entrepreneurs and creative professionals close the gap between their real-world expertise and how they show up online. If you are new here, quick recap that I started my business 4 years ago in 2022, and my business was called Floating Lotus Design. And that name stuck until January of this year, 2026, which I changed it to Purpose and Pixel. Now, the name change was not something that I did on a whim for the moment. It was something that I did over a considerably long period of time and went through many different name iterations, something that I felt was really going to match what I was looking to do and where my business was going. I won't go into all the backstory behind that. I did do a video at the beginning of the year announcing that name change, so you can check that out or visit my About page to learn more about that. But at the crux of this was that my old brand had been built specifically towards fellow health and wellness professionals. I'm a former yoga teacher, and I was starting my business providing services specifically into that niche, the health and wellness industry. And so my business name, my website aesthetic, my service offerings were targeting that niche. But as my business grew, as I grew, my skills and my interests grew, I also found that I really loved working with other established, successful women that were spread across a different industry. And I really wanted to expand my niche. Most people niche down. I was kind of doing the opposite, going against the grain and expanding my niche. And as I began to do that, I realized that my old brand identity wasn't matching the new business. Floating Lotus Design worked really well for who I used to serve exclusively, but it wasn't built to grow with where I was moving, so I became Purpose and Pixel. And it's a name that I think will stand the test of time and continue to grow with me and my business. So, I got a new name, I had a new logo. Now I needed to start fresh and do my rebrand. So I put myself through the same paces I would put a client through. I went through my branding exercises and redid my copy, got my branding docs in order, really figured out my voice, both from a written perspective, but also an aesthetic and visual perspective. And once I had that nailed down, I started with a mood board. So I'll show a picture right here of the mood board that I came up with. And this served as the launching point for my website redesign. Some notes here are with my color palette of navies and creams, really kind of timeless, elegant colors, a little bit of gray, a slight bit of a peach and coral color to be an accent. But then really working the deep blues. I like black and white photography, so I wanted to combine the use of black and white and color photography. And overall, just something that had kind of a classic, even retro feel, but blended with a modernity. So mid-century modern is something that I absolutely love, and that really kind of captures my aesthetic and how I approach things, that kind of clean minimalism, but there's timelessness, but it's also modern. So accessible, comfortable, but refined. And so with my mood board in place, I was able to take the next step. I already had my color palette in place, so I didn't have to go through that again. But next step for me was choosing new fonts. With this rebrand, I really felt it was important to me to go with some custom fonts this time. I wanted something that I felt really was a perfect combination of all of those things that I just spoke about, and that would enhance the website, the layout, the look and feel, but not compete with it. I didn't want anything that was trendy or overused or very common. So I wanted something that was clean and easy to read, not stressful on the eyes, and that would blend well with the aesthetic that I was going for. And you'll see those in a second. And after choosing my fonts, I built my shot list for all of my images. So I'm going to move over the site and see how all these things work together and walk you through a little bit more. So you'll see here my new homepage. Again, and kind of just keeping a nice, clean, minimal feel. My header has got this cream background. I like a light background, so that allows me to play with color in other places, with imageries, within the fonts and other elements across the page. And I also feel like it has kind of a nice calming vibe aesthetic to it. So full transparency, pretty much all of the images that you're going to see here on the site are ones that I created myself. I feel it's very important that I practice what I preach and walk the walk. And because I do offer AI image services for people, I wanted to be able to show what is possible. So the majority of the images you see here are ones that I created myself, following the same process that I do with my own clients. So I really wanted to kind of start off with that elegant feel. So we were going with a black and white, clean kind of space here. You'll see my new font pairings will come in here, where it's kind of a nice, has a timeless feel about it. As we scroll down, I only wanted to start with black and white. You don't see a lot of that, so I really wanted to start with that as kind of a pronounced look and feel for the site. That feel like this is going to be a little bit different. This is not going to be your standard web design studio website. And really the deal that I was going through here is I wanted it to speak to not just the services provide, my story, what I do for my clients, but my approach, my point of view, what makes me different. But I wanted the visual aspect, the actual act of scrolling through the pages on my website to also evoke what it's like to work with me. I wanted it to feel calming and relaxing, not overwhelming or in your face. Very much a pleasant experience, something that's calming and fluid, and there's plenty of breathing room so that you can kind of take that beat, take it in, consider it. So that might kind of seem a little bit strange or weird, but I want somebody to walk away who may have not spoken to me, maybe hasn't seen my YouTube channel, to be able to feel like they have a sense of what it would be like to work with me just from scrolling through my website. So as we kind of scroll through here, we have the fonts working together. So they're minimal, they're very clean. And then we move into imagery that, here again, I'm not using that kind of standard stock photography images here. I'm looking to do things that are a little bit different. I do have the occasional place where we'll have a laptop, but for the most part, those are where they are intentional and used in that way. But what I really wanted to do for the majority of the images on the site was to be consistent and cohesive and not be so literal with every single image, but have ones that are more representative, more evocative of the experience and without being incredibly literal. One of the key things for me is also trying to have established consistency from page to page. And from page to page, whether you land on my home page or a services page, that you're going to have that same look and feel across the site. So quickly to show you that, I use consistent imagery style. So if we look at my custom website design page, you'll notice here again, I mentioned that mid-century is very much my vibe and my aesthetic, so I built that in. Yes, we have an office here, but it's filling in that aesthetic that I like. I keep consistent elements with how I treat headings and sections as we kind of go through. It's a consistent look and feel. And we can scroll through work, product, things like that. Again, it's not overwhelming. It's very clean, easy to navigate, gets right to the information you need, very consistent. And then what I've done pretty much on every page too is have a closing section with consistent type of imagery. It's not the same image every time, but I have this same type of image at the end of each section. So again, you can have this experience on each page, but if you're perusing the whole site, if somebody's deciding to explore, it's going to be obvious to them and that they are on a site that has been built with intention. It's a very cohesive experience. There's nothing jarring from one to the next with how I approach it. Again, design day, yeah, very much the same look and feel. I do reuse some elements where I think they're very helpful in going through process. Again, kind of keeping that aesthetic. So really want it to have a very cohesive look, feel, and experience for anybody that's perusing it. So I'm not going to go through every single page on the website, but overall, I'm hopefully getting the sense of the feel that what I was going for with my choice in images and the color scheme and blending black and white with color and my font choices is that the goal was to have a refined, timeless, but a calming and accessible feel to my site. So that it would give clients, maybe not consciously, but a feeling the vibe of what it might be like to work with me. Not only what I can actually provide you, but what the experience would be like. That white glove service, calming, partnership, something that would be low stress, but provide that elevated custom experience that they're looking for. Now, as I was also going through this process and thinking about this rebrand and building out my business, the other thing that became clear to me as I was doing this was that I had the realization that what I was building here and what I do for clients is I don't just build websites. And that what I actually build are visual credibility systems. And I speak to that on my website and I've spoken that in other videos, but it's about bringing all of the elements together to build an online credibility system for you that supports your business and your authority and the expertise and reputation that you've earned. And I also realized that in order to do that at the level I want to do it and to provide my clients with that really high level expertise and custom experience, that something was going to have to shift in my offers as well. I'm still just one person running a one-woman studio. I don't have a team. I don't delegate my work off to anyone. So I had to realize that I had to make some cuts, if you will. So as a result of that, another major change for my business is that I'm no longer offering SEO standalone services. So I had some foundational elements I did before. I did my SEO quick win service, which were popular. So it was not an easy decision to let them go. But I need to make room for the other things that are making up the core of my work. So I'll still be able to do SEO audits and some help with technical work behind the scenes for folks, be it design days or power hours. But I will be focusing my larger SEO work for my custom website design clients. So doing the foundational and strategy work for my custom website design clients is a part of that package. So I had to cut that out to make room to be able to provide the level of service that I want to be able to provide and to focus on the services that also fill me up creatively and that I enjoyed working on the most. One thing that I am very proud of in the way that I have structured my services and my packages is that I really wanted them to be flexible. So with the custom website design at the core, but also having the branding and the imaging available as add-ons, but also available as standalone services. So that way I can be open to working with clients and meeting them where they are and providing them what they need. We can do everything from branding to the website design to the images, full suite. But if they've already worked with a copywriter, an SEO professional, maybe a photographer or another branding strategist, and they have those pieces already, we can work with that too. So it's really flexible in being able to meet my clients where they are and providing the services that they need. So like I say, you can do it all or just do the piece that you need. So that's something that I'm proud of as well, is that I can really craft a project that will meet my clients' needs. It's an investment and I want them to get as much value out of that as possible. So to wrap this up, this was just a great project for me to do, is to put myself through what I put my own clients through and to celebrate 4 years in business and the growth and the change that I have been a part of over these years and how much I'm looking forward to the future with my business, and to be able to share with you all that I do, in fact, practice what I preach, and my website and brand highly match my expertise and my reputation. So if that's something you're ready to do as well, please take a look at my website, take a fuller tour, and explore the services. And if any of them interest you, I hope that you'll book a call with me. I'd love to be able to talk with you about the possibilities and hopefully find a spot for you on my calendar. I appreciate you watching. If you have any questions, drop them down below in the comments. But in my next video, I am going to be going a little bit more in depth in my new brand image suite service that I have just developed. So I hope you will subscribe and watch that when it drops. Thanks so much.